Welcome to the new episode of FinStecks. Today we analyze the news and claims by a leading TV anchor person about Elon Musk. This transcript captures a discussion about the escalating conflict between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, primarily stemming from Trump's economic policies, specifically tariffs. The segment highlights Musk's opposition to these tariffs, arguing they harm the economy and even his own business, Tesla. Details how Musk has shifted from a seemingly amicable relationship with Trump to openly criticizing his policies, even using surrogates. The analysis suggests Musk's primary motivation is economic, fearing the negative impacts of Trump's trade strategies on his wealth and the broader tech industry. Conversation also touches on the chaotic market reaction to conflicting reports about potential tariff pauses, illustrating the economic uncertainty surrounding Trump's actions. Ultimately, the piece frames Musk as a significant voice of opposition to Trump's economic agenda, driven by substantial financial concerns. Let's see what our experts have to say on this.
Welcome to the deep dive. If you're here, you want to get past the headlines on complex economic stuff and, well, quickly.
Exactly. And today, we're digging into something that's been buzzing around. These claims of financial corruption. Are they really linked to current economic policies?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? There's a lot of noise. So our mission today is basically, can we actually tell if these corruption claims hold water based on the info we have?
And for that, we've got a pretty interesting source. It's a transcript from MSNBC via YouTube.
Right. It looks at the relationship between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. But crucially for us, it gets into economic policy, especially tariffs and, the potential money side of things.
It offers some views on the motives, the consequences, including potential financial angles for, individuals and the market itself.
Okay, so where do we start unpacking this relationship and the policy stuff?
Well, the first thing that jumps out is this apparent shift, maybe, between Musk and Trump.
A shift? You mean like a falling out?
The transcript speculates about that, yeah. And the analysis seems to suggest if there was a break, it'd likely be Musk pulling away because of Trump's economic policies.
Okay, that's interesting, because the transcript mentions Musk was pretty outspoken, right? Calling Trump's tariffs stupid.
He did. Very public, very blunt. And apparently he even went after Trump allies, like Peter Navarro.
So it sounds like a real clash there. But the transcript also suggests Trump kind of wanted to keep Musk close.
Yeah, the idea presented is that Trump valued access to Musk's, wealth and his influence, especially within the Republican Party. It really highlights how economic policy can become a flashpoint, even at that level.
Definitely. Okay, so let's zoom in on those tariffs. This seems central to the whole financial implications angle.
Absolutely. So the source lays out Musk's position pretty clearly. He was pushing for zero tariffs, specifically between Europe and North America.
He thought they were just bad for business.
Seems that way. View them as detrimental. The transcript even says he privately advised Trump against them.
But the policies went the other way.
Pretty much the opposite direction. The discussion mentions the potential for tariffs hitting over 100% on some things.
Wow, 100%. On what?
Electric cars are mentioned specifically. Now, the transcript notes the 100% EV tariff actually came in under the Biden administration, but it's part of this bigger picture of how tariffs could impact that industry and, car buyers.
Right. So if you're thinking about an EV, that kind of policy could directly hit your wallet.
No question. And look at the market reaction mentioned in the transcript. It shows how jittery finance folks get about this stuff.
What happened there?
There was this false rumor, like a potential 90-day pause on tariffs. The market apparently shot up instantly.
Really? Just on a rumor?
Yeah. And then, boom, it crashed right back down when everyone realized it wasn't true. Just shows, how much weight these policies carry in investment circles.
It's like a collective holding of breath. Okay, and then the transcript brings in some financial analysts. Andrew Ross Sorkin.
Right. Sorkin apparently raised a pretty provocative idea. Speculation, really.
Which was?
He floated the possibility of insider trading. Like maybe some Trump administration officials knew how bad the tariffs would be for the market and acted on that knowledge beforehand.
Okay, hang on. Did he offer proof, or was it just thinking out loud?
It's presented as speculation in the transcript. But, the fact that a serious commentator would even voice that, it says something about the atmosphere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it suggests a level of distrust, maybe. Like, could people exploit this knowledge?
Yeah, exactly. It raises those questions, even without hard evidence in this particular source. For an investor, that kind of talk can definitely shake your confidence in fairness.
I can see that. Then there's Dan Ives. His take sounds pretty strong, too.
Oh, yeah. Ives apparently called Trump's tariffs the worst thing for American tech.
Why specifically tech?
His reasoning, based on the transcript, is the industry's heavy reliance on components from all over the world. Global supply chains, you know.
Right. Can't just flip a switch and make everything here.
Precisely. Ives apparently predicted permanent brand destruction for companies like Tesla if things got really bad, and said iPhones would cost way more if they had to be made entirely in the U.S. because of tariffs.
Permanent brand destruction? That's quite a statement. It shows the potential scale of disruption we're talking about.
Definitely. And it wasn't just tech. The Wall Street Journal piece cited in the transcript talked about car prices more broadly.
What did they predict?
Potential increases across the board, domestic, imported, didn't matter because of tariffs on steel and aluminum.
How much are we talking?
The numbers mentioned are pretty chunky, like maybe $2,500 to $4,500 extra for a cheaper car.
Wow.
And for bigger SUVs, maybe $10,000 to $12,000 more. Those are figures that really hit home if you're car shopping.
Absolutely. And it wouldn't stop at new cars, I guess.
Nope. The expectation reported was that used car prices would likely climb too. And there was another angle mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Like the cost increase might not just be on the sticker price. It could be hidden in higher interest rates on car loans, sort of a backdoor tariff effect. Yeah.
Sneaky. So the impact could be felt in different ways.
It's a good reminder, yeah. Policy impacts aren't always obvious. Now, the transcript does include Trump's perspective too, from his social media posts.
How did he frame it?
He apparently called the tariffs an economic revolution, but also admitted it won't be easy.
Won't be easy. That sounds a bit different from some of the earlier talk, doesn't it?
It does. It contrasts with some earlier campaign rhetoric where it sounded perhaps simpler, like other countries would just pay. This sounds more like an acknowledgement of potential domestic difficulties.
Interesting contrast. Okay, so let's circle back to the core reason for this deep dive. Financial corruption. Based only on this MSNBC transcript, can we say, yes, there was financial corruption tied to these policies?
Right. The million-dollar question. And based solely on this source. The honest answer has to be no. We can't definitively say that.
Okay, so what does the source give us then regarding that question?
It gives us discussion about potential negative financial impacts. Big ones. Market swings, higher prices for consumers, damage to industries.
Right, we covered that.
And it includes speculation, like Sorkin's point about insider trading, which touches on the idea of impropriety. It suggests a scenario where someone could exploit advanced knowledge of these negative impacts.
But speculation isn't proof.
Exactly. There's a really important difference between saying this policy will likely cause financial harm and saying people illegally profited from that policy. This source talks a lot about the first part and hints at the possibility of the second, but doesn't provide the evidence for it.
So negative economic consequences, yes. Potential for exploitation may be suggested. Actual proven financial corruption, not in this transcript.
That's the takeaway from this particular piece of information. One can create the conditions for the other, potentially, but this source doesn't make that final connection with proof.
Got it. That distinction is key. Now, there was also that bit about economic philosophy, Musk sharing a video.
Yes. Milton Friedman. Musk apparently shared a clip of Friedman explaining the free market using a pencil.
A pencil? How does that relate to tariffs?
Well, Friedman's point, as presented, is that nobody actually knows how to make a pencil from scratch. Not one single person.
Okay.
It takes wood from trees logged by people using saws made by others, graphite mined elsewhere, rubber from another place, the metal band. Thousands of people cooperate across the globe without any central planner telling them what to do.
Driven by
the free market, by the magic of the price system, as Friedman called it. It coordinates all this incredibly complex activity automatically and efficiently.
Okay, I see. So tariffs.
Tariffs, from this Friedman perspective that Musk highlighted, are like throwing wrenches into that finely tuned global machine. They disrupt the efficient cooperation that the free market enables.
So Musk sharing that is like his underlying argument against tariffs. They mess up this natural economic order.
That seems to be the implication. It's a philosophical disagreement about how economies work best, framing tariffs as harmful interference that leads to those negative financial outcomes we discussed. It gives context to why someone like him might oppose these policies so strongly.
Right. It connects the policy fight to a bigger idea about economics. Okay, so let's try and pull this together for our listeners.
Okay.
What we've seen in this deep dive, looking at this MSNBC transcript, is, well, first, A pretty clear split opening up between Musk and Trump over economic policies, especially tariffs.
And second, commentators in the source are predicting some pretty serious negative financial consequences from these tariffs hitting consumers, specific industries like tech and auto, and, the stock market overall.
But, and this is crucial for our main question today, while the source definitely brings up questions and even speculation about financial funny business like insider trading,
It doesn't give us concrete proof of widespread financial corruption. That's a line this source doesn't cross. It shows the potential negative impacts, suggests how someone might exploit that knowledge, but doesn't confirm it happened illegally.
So it really highlights how complicated this is. You have to separate the predicted economic fallout of a policy from actual proven corruption. They aren't the same thing, even if one might, create opportunities for the other.
Precisely. And claims can surface really easily in that kind of environment, even without hard evidence being public.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for people listening.
Yeah.
Think about that mix. Big policy decisions, the personal financial stakes potentially involved for some people, and how markets react, sometimes wildly. In that kind of volatile mix, how easy is it for claims of financial wrongdoing to pop up and spread, regardless of proof?
That's a really good question to keep in mind. Being critical about the information you get, seeking out different viewpoints, it's essential when you're trying to evaluate these kinds of claims.
Absolutely. So this deep dive gave us one angle based on this transcript. A full picture would obviously need more data, more sources.
Definitely. But hopefully this gives a clearer sense of what this particular source suggests, and perhaps more importantly, what it doesn't definitively prove.
Great. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.